was me. I'm holding the logo the whole
Oh,
time.
I get it. You were using the phone as some sort of not quite a puppet, maybe some sort of man-made
It was an iPhone. I was using it as a display.
Muppet. That was what I was thinking of. Oh, I almost unplugged my microphone. That's right.
I like your vision.
Oh, yeah, well, right now, I will be honest with you. My vision, everything is extremely green, because these sunglasses that I'm wearing, well, actually, they're sort of a muted green. It's not a pretty color, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, no, it looks like you like if the Green Goblin. It's like how sometimes they redo like comic books to like fit into like all the tropes of a time period, like
Uh-huh.
they did like Russian Superman.
Yes, I actually love that
This like
comic.
if they did a Red Sun,
Red
yeah.
Sun.
If they did 70s Green Goblin, like this is what he would look
I
like.
literally bought these, and then I wore them the last time I went to Atlantic City. I wore them with my fur coat and an all black outfit, chain, fake fur coat, and these glasses, and I did not regret a thing.
Buddy, you look like you're ready for one short day in the Emerald City.
Yeah, or like a really cheap, much shorter Young Gravy, one or the other.
Welcome, everybody, to the C Ticket Podcast. It's not the best theme park podcast, but it's probably someone's favorite. Over here, we have me, Nick D'Ambrosia, and that right there, that is James the Anvil Perlas.
Wow, that's
Uh,
cool. Nick, thank
yeah,
you.
it's Jim the Anvil Neidhart, but
Yeah, I met him. I have a signed photo of
really?
him. Yes, I met him.
That's pretty cool.
I met
That's
him in the
dope.
Iron Sheik.
Did he call you a jabroni?
No, but I do like how much he still to this day hates Hulk Hogan. Like truly,
Oh, because Hulk Hogan, yeah, he really hates
truly
Hulk Hogan.
heroic. His Twitter every day was like, "Go fuck yourself, Hulk Hogan." It wasn't like eloquent. It was just like Hulk Hogan fucking sucks. It was quite good.
So we are the C Ticket Podcast, but today we're the 3D Ticket Podcast.
It's
Ooh.
time to light the podcast. It's time to record the episode.
It's time to it's time to play
It's time to
the intro.
It's time
it's
to
time
play
to
the
cast
intro.
the pod.
It's time to cast the
It's
pod.
time to cast the pod.
It's
time to
It's time for Craven's
lift
Corner.
with Fugman on the C Ticket Podcast, bud.
Bum. Nick, I think at the end of this we should invent our own Muppet. We're talking about Muppet Vision 3D today.
Yes,
I
and we
said
will
to
not be
myself.
resorting to any cheap 3D tricks.
No, we won't. Let me just.
But if you ask nicely, if you subscribe to our Patreon, I will stick my feet toward the camera.
Hold on,
for
Nick.
you.
Let me just write down that note. No cheap 3D tricks.
He's writing it on the screen.
I guess also unintentionally before
all of these sight gags are going to do very poorly for the audio listeners.
Oh, I've been holding my green glasses in front of the camera so you can see what it's like to look through them. Nick, I tried to wear my...
To walk a mile in your shitty green glasses.
I tried my best.
Oh, I should have dug up my Shrek 4D glasses that I have.
Yeah, I tried my best today to wear my Muppetiest outfit. It's like a pastel striped shirt, green circular glasses, and I brought Baby Kerm, a mainstay in our house, Baby Kerm right there. I do love that he is wearing a polo tucked into shorts, and on his polo is another frog, which I think is pretty good.
We should wear shirts that have humans on them.
Oh, yeah.
I'm wearing my Muppets Haunted Mansion button down.
What makes it Muppets Haunted Mansion?
It has they're you can't really see, but they're like the Pepe the prawn.
Oh, I thought you were just pulling that one out of your
Gonzo.
hat like this was just a regular Haunted Mansion shirt. That's awesome.
No. It's the Muppets one. It is the officially licensed Muppets Haunted Mansion.
Oh, yeah.
Button down.
So Nick, I know we have a lot to do.
Yeah,
today.
James, we got our 3Ds ready today. I have one, you have one, and the third one is, of course,
Dear listeners.
Yes.
Gross. Nick, before we get started today, and as usual, we have actually something kind of special to do, a very special minute. But I want to ask, and we've covered this in the past, but for our new listeners who may have jumped in with the new season, what is your history with the Muppets? Are you a Muppets fan? How do you rank them up on your?
I enjoy the Muppets. I was like
the average
aware
Muppet
of the Muppets,
enjoyer.
obviously. I mean, truthfully, most of my my Muppet content was consumed at Disney.
Mm-hmm.
I had, like, definitely seen the Muppet movie, like, I remember we got it from the library at one point, so I was like, "Mom, what are the Muppets?" And she was like, "Here, we'll get it at the library." I was like, "Okay,
It's
sounds
that
good."
time. It's that time in your
Um,
life, boy. It's time for you to
yes,
learn
where
about the Muppets.
there's comes a time in every child's life where he must learn to appreciate the gift of felt to all of us. Uh, and I had watched that. I remember vaguely going to see Muppets in Space in
Ah,
theaters,
it's a controversial movie in
or
my
Muppets
house.
from Space. Which one is it? I
Muppets
always get
from
it
Space.
confused. Okay.
That is a
I
very
remember, like,
controversial
vaguely
controversial movie in Katie and I's home.
either that or I saw a trailer for it in theaters for something.
Yeah, close.
I
I
don't know if
think you
that
probably got the
timeline.
gist of it either way.
Yeah, so I wasn't a huge Muppet fan, and then when Muppets Most Wanted was coming out,
Hmm.
I was a member of the Disney Movie Club.
Oh, didn't even know that was a thing.
And yeah, and it was like you pay like a certain amount and they just send you a new Blu-ray every month.
Hmm.
Uh and so I just acquired a bunch of Blu-rays through that, and one of them was the Muppet
Did
reboot with Jason
I'm
Segel.
sorry? Did you have to give those back? Like, what was the?
No, you just get them.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if you had to like return them or like it was a yeah. Okay.
No, they actually just announced it's shutting down because Disney is outsourcing the production of all their physical media to Sony.
Hmm.
So Disney Movie Club is shutting down in May.
Dude. I didn't even know it was still a thing. I assumed that now that with Disney Plus, it didn't exist anymore.
Yeah, I mean, physical media is being phased out in a lot of places, but thankfully, I think people are starting to get the hang of it that they shouldn't be it, getting rid of it entirely
Agreed.
because shit's getting pulled off of streaming.
Hmm.
I've always been a big supporter. I mean, everything just looks better on a physical disc. Like it's
I
fact.
just
Like
like having it. If it's a property I care enough about, like a movie or a show, I just like having a copy of it. And what happens if we get
yeah,
hit
I agree.
with the dark age where we have to run off power generators and small portable DVD players? What if we get a Mr. Burns style scenario, Nick? I mean, come on.
Yeah, I mean, a reference that more people might understand is like The Last of Us 2, where they have movie
That
nights
is quite literally the
for
first thing that came into my head. Last of Us 2? You think Last of Us 2 is going to
yeah.
hit more than just Last of Us 1?
Yeah, because they don't do movie nights in The Last of Us 1.
They don't Doesn't she see one in the show when she goes to when she goes to Jackson?
Yeah, in Jackson, they have a movie night in The Last of Us Part 2.
Oh, see, I've never played 2. I've only watched the show and played 1.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. So basically, what happens is like they start because the show came out after the game.
Mhm.
They can like start dropping the seeds, planting the seeds
Mhm.
of
Planting the
uh
Muppets.
things that like that's always there. Like in Jackson,
Yeah.
that happens,
Mhm.
you know.
Mhm.
But like we don't see it until The Last of Us Part
We
2.
should start the click ticket pod where we just do Last of Us, putting Last of Us in the parks every week. What depressing, sad
It'll be
vestige of
The
humanity.
Cast of Us.
Ooh, Cast of Us is good. And you can be Click
Yeah,
D'Ambrosia, and I'll be
yeah.
fungal
You can be James Clickerless.
fungi. Well, I was gonna be fungal infection Perlas, but I like
No,
that.
you can be James Bloaterless.
Oh, that's thanks, pal. That's a good one. I want to be Fedra James Fedreless. All right.
You can be James the Rat King Perlis.
Ooh, yeah. Hey, that's what they used to call me in college. So Nick, I was not a Muppets enjoyer before I went to Disney and I got to work on Muppets Great Moments in History. R.I.P. What a delightful experience that was. And then that kind of like opened my mind to Muppets. And then one of the greatest gifts my lovely wife Katie ever gave me was converting me into a full-time Muppet fan. Katie has been a Muppet fan her entire life, long time Muppet enjoyer. And she kind of turned me on to the Muppets first with, I think, either Christmas Carol or Muppet Treasure Island, which are two of the best Muppet movies. I don't think anyone's going to argue that.
I had Treasure Island on VHS. I had definitely seen that a few times growing up.
Excellent movie. I like Christmas Carol a bit more, but great movie. And then we did watch Muppets from Space, which I will touch on briefly. It is a controversial film in our house because it was one of Katie's favorites as a kid, which I totally get. It's like one of the most wacky fun ones, especially if you're a kid. But it was the first Muppet movie that I saw that to me felt like they just were like, we don't have a movie, but the Muppets will sell. Like, there's no real plot here, but it has the Muppets, as opposed to we've created a plot for the Muppets, or they would fit well in this property. So, Muppets from Space is fun, but it feels the most like just some sort of random fucking, I don't know, put the Muppets anywhere, it'll be funny. But they do play Brick House at the end, and that is fantastic.
Yeah. I'm a big Muppet Christmas Carol fan now. I
Yeah.
wasn't always, but I am a big fan of Christmas Carol stories in general.
Hmm.
Like the Scrooge story hits.
Yeah, of
I
course.
love it.
Well, because you
And I
are
recently have a
notoriously.
tradition the last couple years now. On Christmas Eve, I just watch as many Christmas Carol adaptations as I can,
Mhm.
and that's always on there. I always try to end with Muppet Christmas
And
Carol.
you are notoriously plagued by ghosts, mostly because you do eat cheese right before bed, as we all a big whole block of cheese before bed.
Well, I can never tell if it's a ghost or if it's a bit of undigested beef,
Blob of mustard or
a
something.
crust of bread,
Yeah.
a blot of mustard, an underdone potato. I never can tell.
Can an under
I do eat my fair share of underdone
can
potatoes.
underdone potatoes make you that sick? I feel like out of all of those
I think
things,
so.
I guess I don't know. I've never bit into a raw potato. I guess that's why I still have most of my teeth. Um, but Nick, I love the Muppets in almost any capacity. They're one of those things that always bring me joy. The small sort of Muppet Square where this wonderful ride or this attraction is located brings me joy. You could put the Muppets in probably anything. I'm one of those like even bad Muppet content, I'll give a shot. Even if I don't love it, I'll be like, yeah, why not? I love the Muppets. Um,
Yeah, like I watched 2 whole episodes of Muppets Mayhem.
Katie really liked it. I have not. We were, and I don't think we ever shared pictures of it. So I may share it when this episode comes out. We were Floyd and Dr. Teeth for a Halloween party this year. We didn't really share it, but that involved painting like orange beards on our faces and stuff. It was a lot of fun. So Katie really enjoyed that show.
That's awesome. Yeah. So we are going to be getting into Muppet Vision
Boy, yo, yo, yo,
3D.
yo, yo, yo,
Hold,
yo,
wait,
yo, yo, yo,
hold
yo,
on.
yo.
Hold on. I think we have another segment coming up. Let's look out.
Uh,
Hey, is that
mm. Oh no.
Oh man, yeah.
Puh.
We have another segment coming down the corner. Here he is. It's time for Craven's Corner.
It's time for Craven's Corner. You're gonna need some orders if you take him off, cause here's the gist. There's only one way off his list. Craven!
So James, I have some news.
Yes.
According to Film Stories
Okay.
and author Maria Latilla,
Okay.
after Madam Web, Craven the Hunter has just become hugely important for Sony.
No, it
Because
hasn't.
after the disastrous launch of Sony's latest Spider-Man adjacent film, which is a really apt way to describe it, the company really needs Craven the Hunter to do well.
It won't.
Here's why.
Okay.
And they go on to describe that they need it to do well because they need to make money.
I, I, I keep forgetting how far away are we from Craven?
I think it's August.
Oh my god, Nick, it feels like it's getting farther every time we do it. I have a real question for you. Bits aside,
Okay.
jokes aside, do you think Craven is going to be the best of the Sonyverse films?
Does this include the Venom movies?
Yes, it does. Venom.
I think
Venom 3.
it will be on par with Venom.
So your hopes aren't even that high.
No.
Okay. All right. It's just we've been.
But like I think we'll enjoy I enjoy Venom. Like I'd watch Venom if it was on right now.
Sure, yeah, we've just become so lost in the sauce of the Craven bit that I've genuinely forgotten what's true and what's not anymore. You know what I mean? Like I don't really remember how I feel about Craven the Hunter anymore. A lot.
I mean, I'm cautiously optimistic about it. Like I think that's a great cast. Russell Crowe will be entertaining in the way that Matt Smith was entertaining.
Yes, yeah, I think you will have at least and we can touch on this in the next minute. I think it will have what made Madam Web so distinctly unfun. I think it will have a little bit more of dumb irreverence to it, which Morbius didn't necessarily have outside of the scenes with Matt Smith. Is that our Craven news? That it has to do well, Nick?
I mean, do you have any other Craven news?
I watched a video where at one point somebody said Craven's going to get a big boost from the people who've played Spider-Man 2 on the PS5. And no, I don't think it will. That's my opinion on that.
Well, with that being said, James,
Oh boy.
I think we got about 60 seconds left.
It is,
for a very important segment.
guys, this is the last one, and I want to give some context here. So,
Well, I'm not making that promise.
the last
yet.
Madam Web minute?
I'm not making that promise.
Okay, I was under the belief until right now this was the last Madam Web minute, but you may be wondering,
We'll see.
Nick and James, yeah, you're right, when Madam Web 2 comes out to make a Madam Webillion dollars, you might be wondering, Nick and James, how could you guys possibly sum up your experience seeing Madam Web, a thing that you've hyped
Wait,
up.
wait. Are we in the Madam Web minute?
No, not yet. Not yet.
Okay.
How could you possibly? I'm plugging, Nick. How could you possibly sum it up in a minute? And the thing is, we can't. You might be wondering, I wish there was a whole episode about Madam Web. Will you tell us
I
about
see
it?
what you're doing. Okay. See, this is a little weird part where it's not quite Craven's Corner, but we're not
No,
quite in Madam Web
if
minute
you remember,
yet.
I don't know if you know this, Nick. You saw the movie with me. Her web connects us all. So this is the connecting thread between the two.
Yes, of course.
So this is the part that Madam Web would have cut out of the movie because to make sure nothing interesting happened. But if you want to hear a full review of Madam Web and maybe our whole evening where we did eat at Rainforest Cafe, you should check out our Patreon. Because Nick, what's our next Patreon?
Ooh, how much is it, James?
It is, well, if you want to hear the episodes, it is $5 a month. But if you just want to join our Discord, have some discussions, vote on some polls, join one monthly live event, that's only $2. But if you want to hear a full, probably around 60 Madam Web minutes, you got to sign up for the Patreon. Nick, what's this next Patreon episode going to be?
It is going to be our Madam Web 60 Madam Web minutes.
60 Madam Web minutes. All right. Nick, what's the plan for this Madam Web minute? Are we giving a rough review? What are we doing here?
I absolutely refuse to give away any Madam Web content for free.
Uh-huh.
So whatever you want to do for 60 seconds is up to you. These plebs are going to shell out their $5 if they want to hear my thoughts on Madam Web.
Okay, I'm going to give a very, 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 very loose review. Are you ready?
No, I'm not ready. If you want to devalue
Just
our hard-earned money.
Start the minute.
It's the Madam Web Minute!
Your 60 seconds starts in 3,
Okay.
2, 1.
All right, so the drink I had wasn't bad. It wasn't too sweet. It wasn't too sugary. I didn't expect it to. It was some sort of Rainforest Cafe special. What was it called? Nick, do you remember?
I don't remember what you
Like
had.
the Jamba Juice or whatever. Anyway, I got that. Then we got some quesadillas. The quesadillas were surprisingly good. I'd call them Applebee's quality. Would you agree with that?
I mean, is that meant to be an insult?
Like completely average chain food. Not bad, not great.
I think chain food is above average personally, but I think they were good.
Sure. Okay, great. Then the chicken sandwich I got, I actually enjoyed. I think chain food is completely flat and normal.
Don't say actually. It doesn't need to qualify.
It was fine.
You enjoyed
It was not. I liked my chicken sandwich. Then we got a dessert that looked like poop, and I did not like it. The brownie was really dry, and the whipped cream was frozen.
What?
Thought it looked like poop.
You didn't like the volcano? Hold on.
No. Do
We're
not
gonna litigate
unpause.
this
Do not
with our remaining
unpause.
15 seconds.
Okay, yeah, I did not like the volcano. Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna keep
You're
going. All right.
fucking-
So then
you're a
we
piece
did
of
see
shit.
Madam
You're a
Web.
piece of
Some
shit.
idiots sat next to us and told us to be quiet at one point. The movie was really funny, and if you want to hear more, you have to listen to the Patreon episode and time.
Fuck you. The volcano's a classic dessert.
It looked like poop, and it didn't taste good.
It did not look like poop.
I'm gonna put the picture. I'm gonna put the picture on it.
I'm gonna pull up my
I'm
picture.
gonna
My
put
picture
the
looked
picture up,
delicious.
and I'm gonna have people on the vote if they think the volcano looked like poop. Look. Hey,
Okay, maybe this picture looks a little bit like poop.
This looks like actual poop.
Maybe a little bit.
It wasn't good, Nick. Come on, it was like dry.
It was fucking delicious.
I've never had whipped.
It was a hot chocolate brownie.
It was not hot.
with,
It was
vanilla
not
ice cream.
It was tepid.
You're not hot.
That is
Fuck you.
I'm gonna take my shirt off.
No, I'm gonna take my shirt off.
Ugh. All right.
No, save it for the Patreon. Save it for the Patreon.
If you want to hear our full review of Madam Web and about the guy who shushed us, check out the Patreon.
Yeah, fuck that guy. I'm gonna have 10 minutes devoted to that piece of shit.
Nick got so angry. And knowing.
And look, you know me, I'm a non-confrontational person.
So that's what I told Katie. I was like, this guy told us to be quiet, and I half expected Nick to be like, oh man, like I'm kind of embarrassed. I was like, no, Nick was madder than I was that this guy told us.
I was gonna fucking fight this guy.
I'm
Sir,
sorry that we
you picked
ruined.
an empty theater and purchased seats directly next to two other people.
Yeah, and we ruined his cinematic experience of Madam Web. What a classic film.
Why the fuck were you coming to see Madam Web after it being out for almost a week?
Uh-huh.
If not, and like, what? Fuck you. Fuck you.
He also made me really, his presence made me really uncomfortable because I kept trying to crack open beers during Madam Web, and I didn't want this narking on me.
Which James also thought I was going to be uncomfortable with, but I was like, no, man.
It's Madam Web, bro. You do what you want.
You gotta.
I want to talk so much more about Madam Web, but we can't. We have to talk about the other M.
No,
Muppets.
we're gonna do it extremely hungover after your party on Saturday.
That is true. And then Nick, are we gonna start? And this name was so good. Behind Venom, behind Venomy
like
Lines.
Venomy lines.
Nick, that was such a good. That is such a good name. When does Venom 3 come out?
Once we start getting some actual info about Venom 3,
It comes out in 2024.
wait, it comes out this year?
November 8th, 2024.
Okay, I mean, I talked a couple weeks ago or whatever about how the fucking time dilation surrounding the Venom franchise affects me. Like, I think all of these movies have come out in a span of 6 months.
Every single one of these trailers is fake. Like every image, every trailer is photoshopped. But I just love the name Behind Venomy Lines. So if we want to use that, I think at this point we should just start an adjacent podcast. The Sony stands
Dedicated to the Sony.
Yeah.
I think we can get invited to a premiere
You
if
keep
we do.
saying that, but we haven't been invited to any.
Because we haven't put this content out there. Now we're doing it, man.
That's true.
Now we're trying. Share our stuff, guys. Get us to the Venom premiere. Hashtag put Nick and James behind Venomy Lines. It's a long one, but it'll work.
I'm Craven. Put the C-Ticket Pod at the Craven premiere. If I could go back in time and go to the Madam Web premiere, oh my God, would I? Nick, let's talk Muppet Vision 3D.
A dream. All right, Muppet Vision 3D. I was gonna pick up a banana cream pie, but you'll have to settle for another.
Oh yeah, we're gonna throw it at your own computer, Nick.
Yeah.
That's gonna. You know what? That's a true Muppet thing to do. So I always make a point of trying to get to Muppet Vision 3D when I'm in Hollywood Studios. Nick, how about you?
I mean, you never wait more than like 10 minutes.
No.
It's fun. It's entertaining. If it's hot, you just go sit down for a little bit.
Uh-huh.
I am not ashamed to admit that I have used it for a nap at least once.
Really?
Not because I don't enjoy it, but because it's like, oh, I can go sit down for a couple minutes and like tune in and out, and like I know when I open my eyes, something fun will be happening.
Are you being Are you being hyperbolic, or do you mean an actual genuine nap?
I mean, like I went in there, I closed my eyes. I don't know if I necessarily fell asleep, but like there was certainly an attempt at rest.
I was about to be very
with
impressed.
Eyes unopened.
Yeah. What about when Swedish Chef started blasting folks, bro? That didn't wake you up?
Oh, I was wide awake by then, certainly.
Actually, I'll wait till you break down the ride a bit, because I have a question I want to ask you about one of the characters in this ride that is interesting to me. But please go ahead.
Yeah, for sure. So, Muppet Vision 3D.
Mm-hmm.
James, I say we go right to the source and start with my favorite tradition.
Uh-huh.
Reading copy directly from the Walt Disney World website.
Absolutely. Love it.
Welcome to Muppet Studios.
Hello.
Wait, I don't know, I can't just do this in a normal voice. How should I do this?
Can you do a Kermit?
Okay. Welcome to Muppet Studios. Take your seat in a perfect replica of the Muppet Theater from the classic television series. The Muppet Show! As the curtain rises, Kermit, Miss Piggy, and the whole Muppet menagerie appear in eye-popping 3D. They're taking you on a zany tour of their lab and showing off their new movie. I need to switch to Fozzie for this one, I think.
Yeah, go ahead.
Taking you on a zany tour of their lab and showing off their new movie-making invention, Muppet Vision 3D.
The Kermit was a lot closer than the Fozzie, I'll be honest.
No, this is exactly what Fozzie sounds like.
You sound like Rizzo the Rat doing an impression of Fozzie.
What are you talking about, James? It's me, Fozzie Bear.
Now you're getting into Pepe the King Prawn?
No, I am Fozzie Bear.
No, I am a Fuzzy Bear.
It's me, Fozzie Bear. I am a wild and crazy guy.
It's me, Fonzie Bear. Okay.
So anyway, things go. I can do Pepe the King Prawn. Things go haywire when Dr. Bunsen Honeydew
This is your best one by far.
Disastrous string of events in motion.
That one's good.
And then I can't do Gonzo. Who else can I do?
Can you do
I
Uncle
can do Miss
Deadly?
Piggy. Be prepared for surprises with on-screen musical numbers and live in-theater special effects. It's a show kids of all ages will love and guaranteed to bring down the house. Now I'm going to go back to Fozzie. Based on the original TV show created by the legendary puppeteer Jim Henson, The Muppet Show aired from 1976 to 1981 and was an instant hit.
Why
And then
does
I'll
he keep
switch.
getting Italian towards the end of the sentences?
That's exactly what Fozzie sounds like.
Sure, okay, yeah, why not?
And then, here, I'll do Statler and Waldorf. This attraction was a unique collaboration between Jim Henson Productions and Walt Disney Imagineering, including the final released film that was directed by Jim Henson and the last to feature his voice as Kermit the Frog. Oh, it was merciful. Ho, ho, ho. That's also bad grammar, which is shocking from the Disney website. That's incorrect.
Wait, what do you mean?
This attraction was a unique collaboration between Jim Henson Productions and Walt Disney Imagineering, including the final released film that was directed by Jim Henson.
I don't necessarily.
That's not.
I don't think.
That doesn't make sense.
I think it technically could, but I know what you mean.
I'm right. You're wrong. Moving on.
Okay. This is what
the Fozzie is always correct.
This is what every C-ticket argument has ever been. I think this thing. Well, I don't know about that. Incorrect.
Next.
Is that all? Do Uncle Deadly.
That is. Yeah, this, I don't know. I can't really do Uncle
He's
Deadly.
like, oh, he talks like this. He's the one that he appears very briefly to marry Pepe and the bride in the Halloween one.
I know Uncle Deadly. I just can't do it.
Yeah, I know Uncle
Deadly.
Yeah, I know Uncle Deadly.
Here, I can do. This is Muppet Vision 3D. It opened on May 16th, 1991. A great year in the history of our great nation.
Yeah, that wasn't bad.
Famous things that happened in 1991 include very patriotic on January 17th, the first airstrikes on Iraq.
Okay. Oh no, Sam Eagle, stop.
On October 15th, 1991,
that's enough, Sam.
the Senate confirmed Clarence Thomas to the Supreme Court.
Fucking bummer, especially lately. Fuck that guy. No.
And on
pornography
Christmas Day, the resignation of Mikhail Gorbachev marked one of the final acts in the dissolution of the Soviet Union. A great day in the history of our great nation.
Yeah, Sam Eagle would unironically be happy about that one. Nick, who's your favorite Muppet?
Swedish Chef.
Swedish Chef? I don't play. I like Gonzo. I like Rolf. It's hard because all of the Muppets are good, but like since the focus on them is usually like a tight 4 or 5, it's hard not to just be like, I'm going to pick everyone's favorite. I like Gonzo a lot. I like Rolf. I like Uncle Deadly. I like Salmonella, the chimp that we talked about that shows up in a few, mostly because his name is Salmonella. All right, so I have a question for you, Nick. Can you... Well, no, you know what? Let's get more into the ride. So what happens in Muppet Vision 3D? You come in, you sit in the theater.
Well, I have a little bit more background before we get to it. So, Disney was set to acquire Jim Henson Productions, Henson Associates, in 1989.
Okay.
This was around the time that Disney was saw that Universal was going to build a studio-based theme park in Orlando, and they said, "Yeah, us too." And then
we had it
rushed
first.
it out. Yeah, they rushed it out to open before Universal Studios Florida could open. They opened Disney MGM Studios.
I did not know that.
A lot of getting this done involved partnering with other companies. Because Disney in '89, you'll remember, still was not really doing so hot. Little Mermaid came out in '89 and really kind of started the Disney Renaissance that turned them back around and put them back in public favor as far as being known for producing quality content. But this was like the Eisner era really kicking off, and he said, "No, we're gonna build a whole theme park, and we're gonna really partner with outside companies." So part of those partnerships were with Henson. They partnered with. There was talk of working with Mel Brooks to do the Tower of Terror was initially going to be like a lot of different things got pitched for that. Yeah, it's like that's my biggest what if that got built, the Mel Brooks version of Tower of Terror.
Like, what would it have been? The same general theme with more of a comedy spin instead of Twilight Zone?
I think so. Would have been like some sort of haunted attraction with Mel Brooks at the helm. But that all came secondary.
Tower of Terror.
When Hollywood Studios, when MGM Studios opened, there really was not a whole lot to do. You had, of course, the Great Movie Ride.
Okay. Love it. That would make sense. Movies, MGM, cinema.
Yeah, but they had Great Movie Ride, the Backlot Tour.
Which I don't even remember.
They didn't have all of Sunset Boulevard, so Rock and Roller Coaster, Tower of Terror did not exist.
There?
None of that was there.
Boy.
They had the Studio Backlot Tour. They had I'm trying to like look it through the map right now.
Well, clearly, I mean, I
So it was Great Movie Ride Studio Backlot Tour. They had a show called like Superstar Television.
okay.
They had the Monster Sound
Okay,
Show.
that sounds interesting.
Then they had the Magic of Disney Animation.
Okay.
And
You know, I guess I never.
a Theater for the Stars. I think Indiana Jones was an opening day. Yeah.
I guess I
And then
never.
there was something in the Broadway stage.
I never really thought about how much of Hollywood Studios is kind of like third party material. I never really consider that because now so much of it is ubiquitous with Disney. And I mean, looking back at another Patreon episode we did about the What Comes Next Disney Super Bowl campaign, the rumor for that even starting was they were having dinner with George Lucas talking about Star Tours. So yeah, I guess it's so funny. So many of these properties are now synonymous with Disney that you forget there was a reality where like Star Tours was the only weird. It was like the embassy, the Star Wars embassy inside of a foreign country. You know what I mean? Like Star Tours
Yeah.
used to be the only place you could go see it.
Yeah, if I had a nickel for every time Disney made a partnership to put a property in their theme parks and eventually bought the company that owns that property in order to own it outright, I would have 3 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened thrice.
And those would be, hold
'Cause
on.
it happened with Star Wars, it
Muppets.
happened with the Muppets,
And then-
and it happened with Avatar.
Avatar. I don't know why I was about to say The Incredibles and shit. I don't know why that was the one that I thought. Yes. Oh my God, Avatar. I completely forgot about that because they're not in Hollywood Studios, but yeah. Would you say that's the most valuable, important property they purchased, Nick?
I would say it's made them the most. I mean, no, Star Wars is probably like Lucasfilm.
No, I mean
is
for
probably
you. Is it like the
uh,
most sexually charged of all the properties that they bought?
Oh, I mean, absolutely. But you also have to remember there's Babu Frick in Star Wars. So
What? You're right, Nick. Babu Frick would treat you correctly. You're 100. I don't know about the Navi, but Babu Frick would get you.
can we get Sydney Sweeney to voice Babu Frick?
Sydney Sweeney plays Babu Frick in the new Babu Frick biopic.
Anyone but Babu. It's
Anyone but Babu. What planet is he from?
I don't know what planet he's from, but they meet him with Zori Bliss when they go to I forget what it's called.
So Jakuphoria
Um,
doesn't make sense. Never mind.
No, I was gonna say Babuphoria is also
Babuforia
where I
is
was going.
good. Madam. No, I got nothing. Web.
Madam Frick.
Madam Frick. Madam Frick
Frick.
is good. Madam Frick is good. Yeah, wow, that's a good point. I never really thought of that. I've said this before. I always wish they did more with the Muppets. We had an episode, I forget which one it was, where we pitched it was mostly me, I think, but it was a Muppets Castle show that I still think is such a delightful idea where they have to run the park for a day and they're all panicking because they want to impress Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, that would be incredible.
And then who shuts them down? I think we had to do didn't we have to pick we had to pick a villain at random? Somebody came and shut them down. I forget who it was now. I'm gonna go back and listen to that episode. That was a fun one.
Go back and listen to that one.
You should too. Hey, listener, you should find out what episode that is and go back and listen to it.
And tell all your friends to listen to it, and then say, hey, for just $5, you can listen to more.
Do you want to hear a man salivate over Sydney Sweeney while cursing out Madam Web and the man next to him for an hour? You can pay for that, baby.
You can. I'll also do it for free. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah. May 16th, 1991, this opened in what was initially, it was in the Streets of America, technically, which was the back area that had all the facades of different cities in America, kind of trying to represent a studio backlot.
Bet San Diego loved
And then
that.
in 2016, when they tore down the Streets of America to make room for Galaxy's Edge, they renamed this area, made it much smaller, and renamed it Muppet's Courtyard.
Love it.
And this was also when they rethemed Pizza Planet into Pizza Rizzo. And Mama Melrose's just kind of got absorbed into Muppet's Courtyard by proxy, as did the Christmas store that we talked about briefly a couple years ago.
Which is funny because there's also a Christmas store. It's like they're tied to the Muppets because when Great Moments in History came to Liberty Square, directly across from the Christmas store, and they did start carrying like a decent percentage of Muppets stuff.
Well, it is in the singing of a street corner choir.
It's in the recording of a podcast. Yes. There goes Mr. Fuckface. There goes, yeah.
There goes Mr. Asshole. There goes Mr. Bitch.
I hope that he dies soon. Yeah, no wonder Scrooge is so fucking mean. If I went out every day and everyone's like, there goes that piece of shit set to song, like, yeah, maybe I would get a little worse too. Yeah, and then you know what? Imagine you wake up and you're like, I think I'm doing a little better today, and they all go, and Scrooge is getting worse. Yeah, all right, fuck you too, pal.
And also his balls smell.
His penis is tiny, his hands and toes are weird.
He likes to sit, and when he pees, he always wipes his rear.
That one's oddly specific, actually.
That's from the very leery Muppet.
Oh, yeah. There are always some Muppets that make me do
And I don't mean leery in the British sense, where they're like, Jack from Mary Poppins. No, I mean, they're leery, like they're leering at Scrooge.
Like in the
they hate him, but they like him.
Like in the
like
pervert
they hate watch him,
sense?
you know?
Is that what you meant in the pervert sense?
Yeah.
There was a there was a pervert. There was a Muppet that Katie never liked because she freaked her out as a kid. Oh, the two-headed one from Sesame Street. And I have to agree, I used to be really freaked out when I was a kid by Snuffleupagus because he was so big and he had such huge eyes.
Too big.
Yeah, thank
Too
you.
big. I didn't like Big Sweetums. We'll get to him, but
Oh, I
Big
love
Sweetums.
Sweetums
I would
now.
never want to sit in the first few rows at Muppet Vision.
Well-
Because I was afraid he was going to consume me in his giant jowls
I could-
that can fit a human, like fucking Audrey too in Little Shop of
I was
Horrors.
gonna say I could one day see an article where it was like Sweetums consumes child at Muppet Vision 3T. Like he gets one. Sweetums is allowed to have one child per month, and that's it. Very, very Jungle Cruise. The snakes cannot swallow a 150-pound child hold, only a 130-pound child. Yeah.
So, it came time for the first expansion of Hollywood Studios, and there was talk of creating a whole Muppet Studios land.
I want it.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. So I let me just finish up that last thought. After it was Muppet Courtyard in 2017, they renamed it Grand Avenue. So like a whole year, it was Muppet Courtyard, and it was devoted to Muppets. And now it's just a generic theme that has way too much Muppet shit in
Wait,
it.
it's not not still considered a Muppet Courtyard?
No, it is considered Grand Avenue.
I always
and I
have
believe
called
it is also Baseline Tap House is considered a part of Grand Avenue.
I've always called it like
Um,
Muppet Square.
No, it was never Muppet Square. You made that up.
But it has Miss Piggy in it. She's the Statue of
and
Liberty. She's
So
hot.
it's Grand Avenue.
What a dumb choice that is. I'm sorry. I don't.
And do you know what the theater is called?
What?
The Grand Arts Theater.
It's not called the Muppet Theater.
No, it was renamed in 2017.
Do you see the rationale behind this? Because I genuinely don't. Like at this point, it's so themed to the Muppets.
I mean, I guess the rationale was there is more than Muppet stuff there.
I guess
This is something that gets me about Disney's relationship with the Muppets is like they're always like it's like they're ashamed of it.
they're
being
always
successful.
keeping them at B list. Yeah.
They're like they're always like an arm's length. They're like we know that people kind of like the Muppets, so like here we'll give you a restaurant,
But
but we don't know if we can commit to a whole land.
But
Like we'll give you a 30-minute special, but we can't do a whole movie.
But
right?
what kills me with that is the Muppets, I think, have proven to be successful at this point. And even if they're not like a top headline grabber, if Disney was, it's sort of like WWE when somebody doesn't get a title push, but you feel like they could. If you don't push them, how will they get bigger? You know what I mean? It
Yes.
almost feels like because like
My brother in Christ, you control who sees the Muppets.
it almost feels like that trope that we saw in Madam Web, Nick, where it's like, oh, as the stepchild, I don't like I'm not pushing my stepchild as much or something like it feels like they adopted the Muppets, so they're not giving them the love they would give to their biological child, which is fucked up, whether you're doing it as a corporation or a person. Love them all equally.
Yeah, the Muppets aren't Vince McMahon guys, so they don't get a push.
Yeah, they're not big and sweaty enough, and also potential criminals. Yeah, that's how I've always felt about it, Nick. Like they always want to keep them in the B list, but the Muppets have proven, and I feel like especially amongst slightly older people, that people love the Muppets. You would get more out of them if you push them, and I can't quite figure out why they don't.
It's, I don't know. I was talking the other day to a friend about the Mean Girls movie musical
The
adaptation.
one that I thought you were in
And-
until we saw the trailer, and you're like, no, I did not do that.
Yeah, I don't know why you thought that. I never claimed to be in
I
it.
just thought you were in the background of it. Every time I saw it, I was like, oh, I
No.
can spot Nick in this.
No, all my other friends are in it. I literally sit there like Leonardo DiCaprio watching the movie, pointing at it.
Oh.
But
Yeah.
But no, we were talking about how like it felt like everyone was ashamed of the fact that they were making a musical,
Weird.
despite the fact, like, and it's like, if you don't like musicals, then if you think people don't like musicals, just don't make it.
Why'd you make it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So that's kind of how I feel about Disney's relationship with the Muppets. It's like, yeah, they can be there, but like, we can't call it Muppet Land, right?
It's
No,
almost
no one would ever go to that.
it's almost like they're operating like princess companies do, where they can't use the official name. Storybook
Yes.
Princess, Rose Princess, Tavern Idiot. Like they can't just quite be like it's Muppet Land. They're like, no, it's it's Fun Square. Come check it out. I love the Miss Piggy Statue of Liberty. I think it's
It's one of
iconic,
my favorite photo ops in the park.
powerful, sexy. It's one of the only openly sexy things you're going to see in Disney parks.
Yeah, and they keep that water there just because so many people would want to jump on it and do sexy things to it.
Yeah. I can't tell you how many times I've wanted to run up and lick the Miss Piggy Statue of Liberty, but I don't because of the water. The water is actually what keeps me out.
Yeah, you're notoriously afraid of water like a cat.
Yeah, I'm scared of Muppet water. I don't know if I'm gonna get
You
Muppet.
tiptoe around the ledge of the fountain, and you like consider going.
Yeah, I'm like a
for it,
kitty.
but, like,
I put my paw out. I smack at the water a little bit. Then Katie gets the spray bottle and gets me back in line.
So, so Disney tried to acquire the Muppets,
Yeah.
but then Jim Henson was like, "Yeah, we have all these plans. We're gonna do the Muppet Vision 3D.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to do another big what if for Hollywood Studios, which is the Great Muppet Movie Ride,
God, I would have killed for that too.
which was intended to just literally be a parody of the Great Movie Ride."
It would be,
And it was like gonna go into detail about like how movies were made, but it was going to be all wrong.
God, Nick, that would be so fucking fun. The Muppets are so funny. All right, yeah.
But then you read like some of the names like they were gonna include, and it was gonna be like, oh, a Western sequence, a sequence of the snow scene from Dr. Zhivago. And it's like, oh yeah, everyone loves Dr. Zhivago.
Kids are gonna love the Dr. Zhivago references.
Muppet Zhivago is gonna be huge.
But the thing is, the Muppets are so versatile, you can put them in anything. That's why, like, it feels such like.
And it's just, that's a pitch that's just such a big swing. It's so bold. It's like such an Eisner era idea. Like, it would be like if you walked into Magic Kingdom and you rode Pirates of the Caribbean, and 600 feet to the left, there was like, yeah, and now it's fucking Pirates of the Caribbean, but with cats. And it's like,
it would be Cats of the Caribbean. No, Pirates of the Caribbean. Pirates of the Tobeans? Tobeans?
no, it's with monkeys and it's Primates of the Caribbean.
All right, Nick, everything about that sentence is fucking incredible. As I was at I was at a job thing today, and for a role, and one of the things they're like, oh, one of the characters is a pirate, and I was like, actually, that checks off. I have a list of roles I want to do: cowboy, pirate, vampire. So I've kind of knocked off two of my big ones now: pirate and cowboy. I'm just waiting on vampire. I would have loved a ride in that vein, but it was just the Muppets. It was one collective ride parodying other Disney rides. So you got a little bit of Muppets Pirates of the Caribbean, a little bit of Muppets It's a Small World, Muppets Space Mountain. I don't even give a shit. It would just be It would just be called The Muppet Ride, and you would just go through all of the different rides.
Yeah, so there was going to be that, and then there was going to be, I'm going to check my notes because I want to make sure I read this name
Muppet
exactly
Seinfeld.
correctly. The Great Gonzo's Pandemonium Pizza Parlor.
I'm so fucking angry we don't have this. God damn it.
So this was going to be a pizza restaurant, or an Italian restaurant, where conveyor belts with trains and animatronic rats would bring you pizza. And there was going to be like a kitchen door where you would like hear chaos and Swedish Chef, and every so often there'd be an explosion, the door would fly open, smoke and chicken feathers would come out.
God.
Like, they got very far into the development of these ideas, and it just never happened.
Didn't we
because
once talk about
unfortunately,
a Muppet?
in 1990,
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
during the production of Muppet Vision 3D, Jim Henson died.
Yes. Tragic.
So the deal fell through, and Disney was not able to acquire the Muppets in 1989 or 90. And kind of everything other than Muppet Vision 3D kind of fell by the wayside for years.
Yes.
It was the only Muppet content in the parks.
And then was the next thing Great Moments in History? No.
Yeah, and then
Wow.
the next thing after that was Pizza Rizzo.
That Great Moments in
Well, no, there was. Sorry, that's a lie. There was a Muppet stage show in Hollywood Studios at one point.
Is that the one where they're terrifying full body costumes?
Full-size human people?
Yeah,
Yes.
that doesn't work so good. Only Sweetums can do that. I that's heartbreaking because I was there in 2017. So that means when was Muppet Vision 3D?
When did it open?
Yeah.
91.
So that means that, God, I was 2017 Great Moments in History opened? That's insane. That's like 16 years. No, not even 16 years. That's crazy.
25 years.
That is
Yeah.
nuts. I keep thinking 2007 for some reason because like my brain can't fathom it being that far apart. That's crazy. And it's such a shame because I don't know. The Muppets are so good. Maybe there's some secret we don't know. Maybe there's some sort of legal clause where you can't use the Muppets that much, but it just feels like they're being wasted. It almost feels like Disney doesn't want to because it's not theirs. You know what I mean?
I don't even know if it's that. I just think they just doubt that kids these days think puppets are funny.
I maybe, but I think you'd get enough people, older people being like, I want to go see the Muppets, that it's going to introduce their children and make more Muppets fans. Like that's what's going to happen.
Again, that's how we think, but they have like their spreadsheets and algorithms or whatever that
I
clearly
don't
tell
think they're,
them
but I
not
don't
to
think they're
commit too hard to it.
testing children to see if they like puppets. That's the thing. Like also the offerings, the Muppet offerings in the park are so slim. You know, are you Googling do children like puppets?
No.
I was gonna say their Muppet offerings are so slim, but I guess I should be thankful for what we have because any Muppet content is good Muppet content. Also, shout out to friend of the pod Bridget for a fantastic Muppet-based outfit that she shared from her recent Disney trip. Absolutely outstanding. Nick, so why don't you take us into the ride?
Hold on one second. I'm trying to find something. There was a new restaurant, like a new stand, like a new food stand that opened at Hollywood Studios, and I cannot remember the name because it's in this area, and it's like, I was like, is this supposed to be Muppet themed?
Interesting question.
It is called New Snack Stand is now open. Oh, it is called, you ready for this?
Yes.
Ice Cold Hydraulics.
Is it a like a droid thing?
Nope, it is.
Who
It's
is
at
drinking
725
hydraulics?
Grand Avenue. It is right outside the kind of brick arches of Muppet's Courtyard. Yeah. Ice Cold Hydraulics.
But I don't get what's that a joke on?
It's not.
Hydraulics. Like the things you use
Yeah.
for cars and robots.
Yeah, Ice Cold Hydraulics.
I don't get it.
What's there to get, man? It's just the name of the. It's the name. It's a great name for a food booth.
This bit sucks.
Yeah, because it's a fucking terrible name
Yes,
for anything.
I agree.
Because what does that? Nothing about that tells you it's going to serve you food.
Oh, you know what this looks like it's for? It looks like it belongs in Radiator Springs. Ice Cold Hydraulics, Cruise on By, Thirst Suspension. Yeah, these are all car jokes.
Yeah, but it's on Grand Avenue, same place as the Muppets. This could have been a Muppet booth.
Yeah,
but it's not.
That sucks. Or maybe it's a plain joke. This sucks. Okay, yeah, that's not great. Yeah, once again, like, that's where I don't understand. Even if you're nervous about the viability of the Muppets with young people, why the fuck would you not just make that a Muppet food stand? Swedish Delights. Fozzie's Funny Snacks. Miss Piggy's perfectly palatable somethings.
Pork.
No, probably not.
Fozzie's banana cream pies.
And then yeah, you can only get banana cream pies. That hey, I would get in on that. Well, great. That's disappointing.
Yep. So I've been bouncing around a little bit here. So let me try to get us back on track on the
tell us
timeline
about
here.
Muppet Vision 3D.
So this opens in 91.
Mm-hmm. I was negative
and
3.
it runs. This building is it has like that big mural of Kermit and Miss Piggy on the side doing I think it's Gone with the Wind pose, or there's the big Kermit hot air balloon that is almost like a second icon for the park at this point.
Love that
on
thing.
Top of the building. And they tear that down in 2016 because of the sightlines from Galaxy's Edge.
Sucks. I remember.
And then they painted over the Muppet thing when they were retheming the rest of the area.
Always giving them second place treatment despite all.
There used to be a gift shop full of gags and stuff.
I remember. That I do remember. And I went back with Katie at one point, and I was like, "Oh, let's get you some Muppet stuff." And I could not find the fucking store, and I thought I was insane. But they got rid of that.
Yeah. So the space that was going to be the pizza restaurant, the Gonzo Pizza Restaurant, became Mama Melrose's Ristorante Italiano.
Mm-hmm.
And the Great Muppet Movie Ride never got built.
God, that one's truly heartbreaking. I don't fully think we'd need like a whole Muppet park, but I do believe a Muppet area is well deserved. So So that's truly heartbreaking.
We're just Muppets in other areas.
Yeah, but that's what's so good about them. They can be put into anything because they are actors, right? Like that's their whole shtick. Do we still get the walk around character? Was it at Epcot where it was like Beaker and nothing?
Oh, the Muppet Mobile Lab?
Yeah.
It doesn't go around anymore, no.
God, what a disappointment.
I know.
All right, I'm no more pessimism. Tell me about the ride or the attraction.
So, it's a 3D film where you go into Muppet Studios and they are going to be showing you their new
3D.
Muppet Labs, Muppet Vision 3D technology developed in Muppet Labs. And
By
why
Bunsen,
don't you take
Honeydew,
us
and Beaker.
through? Yeah, why don't you take us through what actually happens? Well, the first there's the pre-show.
Yes.
Let's talk about the pre-show.
So
you go in through the hallways. There's a great gag where there's a sign that says "Out for lunch, key under mat," and you lift the mat, and there's an actual key under there, which is just details, baby.
A+.
And then you pass like puns and stuff and other assorted Muppet gags.
There's like
into a
parody
prop
movie
storage
posters,
room.
stuff like that.
Yeah,
Right? Yeah.
There's like the Bride of Froggen or something.
That is good. Is this the
and then what's that?
Is this the room that we're in before we go in?
Yeah, which is a prop storage area.
Yes, you
There's
see
like
some
bits and stuff.
You see some of the great Gonzo's props. You see stuff from the movies. You see stuff from the Muppet movie. I believe there's some of Kermit's Cowboy stuff in there, right? There's a lot of cool shit in there.
Yeah. And then you have what is, I would venture to say, maybe the best pre-show film
Absolutely.
in a theme park
Because it's a bite-sized
attraction.
Muppet bit. Yeah.
Like, I almost like that more than the actual movie, Muppet Vision 3D.
Really?
There is a bit that just gets me, 2 bits in there that get me every single fucking time.
Which ones?
Bit number 1 is when Fozzie introduces the 3Ds to come out and dance.
Yes.
And the 3Ds are supposed to be Dorothy, Dinah, and Debbie. But then there's a bit where they're all wearing like these matching tutus or dance outfits.
Like the cars from
and then
Starlight
this,
Express. Sorry.
buff Italian Muppet with a mustache and droopy eyes comes out and goes, and he got a cigar and he goes, "Yeah, Max. Yeah, the union sent me. Debbie's sick." And I'm like, that's such a funny bit because union jokes kill.
Yeah. Nick, that might
and
be
then
your way
they do
in.
the dance, and they dance to is it T for Two? Or no, they do "By the Light of the Silvery Moon." They go "By the light," and he goes "By the light, by the light,
by
of the silvery moon, not the sun, but the moon." And it's every time it gets me.
I didn't.
And the other bit,
Yeah.
what's yours?
Well, no. No, please. When I was working for Great Moments in History, it'd been so long since I'd been on Muppet Vision 3D that I didn't realize that's why she also sings it in Miss Piggy. Also sings that in Great Moments in History. Yes, but that's why she.
We'll have to do an episode on that because I've never actually seen that.
Oh, she wants to play King George. She wants to make George Washington, and then she wants to play King George, and then she comes back as the Moon. And Kermit's like, "You can't just cast yourself as the Moon." And she's like, "Yes, I can." Anyway, go ahead.
My other favorite bit in this pre-show is when it's like about to end, and then Gonzo's like, "Hey," he comes out and whispers to Sam Eagle, like, and then Sam's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize. Everybody, please, we have a very special guest. Everybody, give a warm round of applause to the one and only Mr. Mickey Mouse." And then Rizzo the Rat comes out wearing a Mickey Mouse like onesie.
This is the one I was thinking about.
And goes, "Da da 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 da. Hi, hello, welcome to my park." And I say that so often. "Hello, welcome to my park." It's such a good bit, a good visual gag. And then he gets in an argument with Sam Eagle.
Yep.
And then they do the whole, "All right, everybody, please move into the theater." Blah 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 blah. And it's so good.
Then
so good.
You go into the theater and you get. I love the animatronic penguin orchestra. It's such a beautiful touch.
Do you have a guess as to how many animatronics are in this attraction?
I do not. It's got to be at least 25.
The number I saw was 19, which
Okay.
is a lot.
Yeah.
More than most attractions.
How many
Rise of the Resistance does not have 19 animatronics.
I'm gonna see because the one I feel like would have the most. Hold on. I want to see how many are in Pirates. Pirates.
A couple dozen, I believe.
You think it's more? Oh no. It's a lot more. 53 audio animatronic animals and 75 animatronic pirates and villagers.
Yeah. So 19 is a lot for something that like isn't a ride.
That you don't move.
You have all the orchestra. You have
through,
Statler and Waldorf. you have Bean Bunny, you have the Swedish Chef, you have two people. Uh, you have a live action actor.
Sweetums.
Is Sweetums.
You think so? That's got to be an
There's a lot.
operations role, right? It's not an entertainment role.
It's an entertainment role.
That I've never heard or seen that listed anywhere. Like,
I'm almost 100% sure it's an entertainment role.
you think it wouldn't fill into? We can do. If anybody knows the answer to this, it wouldn't fill in the same.
I know someone who knows the answer to this. And I'm
Really?
pretty sure they told me.
Because
Yeah,
Pirates.
we know someone.
Like Jungle Cruise and Great Movie weren't, and this is no more work than that.
But you're in a costume
Yeah,
and you're representing a character.
I never knew that. That's pretty cool. God,
Well, I actually saw as I was reading the Henson Company for the initial cast members. They sent and trained them to learn how to operate Sweetums.
hell yeah, I would do
Because
that so fast.
Well, because you have to control because Sweetums is how Sweetums is represented in Muppet media.
True.
So it has to be exact.
Yeah, and his mouth. Yeah,
It's
his
like
mouth movement's got to be.
it's an entertainment role.
Yeah, that makes sense. I would love to do that. I've never. I would take any puppeteering lessons. I have a friend who teaches them, and I would love to pay him and do some of them because it seems like such a cool skill to have. But also, how does your arm not get tired eventually?
It does.
Yeah, I was watching the Sesame Street crew play basketball, and it was so delightful to see like the full range of motion of all. But I'm like, God, your arm has got to get. Yeah, that is a lot of an. I always get focused on the Penguin Orchestra. I think it's just so delightful. The one time I went to the real Metropolitan Orchestra, our joke the entire time was just like, "Where are all the Muppets? Where are the like sort of like Mad Magazine? They must be behind a door somewhere." You know what I mean? Causing hijinks. So yeah, I don't know. I love that type of thing.
Well, what's great is, and again, the attention to detail in this attraction is so great. Every animatronic is programmed to have to be watching the show.
Yeah.
So,
Oh no,
they
they're all
have
involved.
reactions.
Yeah, I like.
Yeah,
You
they
can
have
see the
re-
penguins kind of like look at each other and stuff like that. Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah,
All right. So you get in there,
awesome.
and you're being taken into Muppet Vision Labs, and of course, there's going to be hijinks.
Well, you're entering like a recreation of the Muppet Theater from the Muppet Show.
Yes. Which have you ever watched the original Muppet Show?
I've seen some episodes.
It's a delight. We've gone back and watched a few. We went and we watched the version with oh my God, Vincent Price, the Mark Hamill one. Mark Hamill one's great because he plays Mark Hamill and Luke Skywalker as two separate people. But also like it's Nick, do yourself a favor, go onto Disney Plus and just look at the like celebrity listings because there are people on there you're like, oh, they did an episode with John Denver. Oh, okay, they did an episode with this guy. Like you're like, oh, I really didn't expect all of these people on here, but they got some serious gets. Like I think people don't understand how popular the goddamn Muppets were.
They were huge in the 70s and 80s.
Yes, absolutely. Have you ever seen the clip of Kermit talking to Vincent Price? Because if you haven't, I'll play it at the end because it's absolutely delightful.
I'm sure I have at some point, but I don't have any recollection of it.
Maybe I'll play it at the end. It's cute. I'll see if we have time. But yeah.
All right, but yeah. Speaking of time, let's run through it.
Yeah, because
so
we are
you
almost
get in there,
an hour.
and Kermit's gonna take you on a tour.
Wait, how
of Muppet
Muppet
Labs.
appropriate? Because they always talk forever about the thing they're gonna do, and then they have absolutely no time to do it, and it all blows up in their face.
So he's going to take you on a tour of Muppet Labs,
Uh-huh.
and he introduces you to Bunsen and Beaker. They want to show off all their 3D stuff. They're essentially prepping for a show for you, and they're going to show you behind the scenes.
Bunsen and Beaker being, of course, the two scientists. If you haven't seen them, Beaker is the one that goes meep, 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 and Bunsen is the one that
Yes.
talks like this.
And Bunsen and Beaker, I think, is it accidental or intentional that they create a very divisive character
this is
among us?
This is what I wanted to talk about, yeah.
Waldo, the spirit of 3D.
So,
James, who's Waldo?
you like Waldo.
I love Waldo.
I hate Waldo. Waldo is Katie and I's least favorite part of this ride. Waldo is, and tell me if I'm wrong in saying this, Nick. Waldo looks like he stepped out of one of those like early 2000s computer games, like Freddy Fish or something, where like only certain things were in 3D. He's sort of a blue
Fuck yeah,
and
he
white.
does.
He looks like a bird crossed with a tugboat, and he also has a top hat, if I remember correctly.
I think he acquires one, but his nose is like detached from his body.
And
Or no, it can detach from his body.
Waldo's whole joke is that the Muppets are like, we're not going to resort to cheap 3D gimmicks. And Waldo is one long, irritating, cheap 3D gimmick.
He is a living 3D trick.
And I would say he is annoying.
bouncing on people's heads,
Yeah.
bouncing on people's heads.
He's annoying on purpose. I don't think you can argue that. It's just some people like him, some people don't. And then Bunsen and Beaker do immediately try to kill him, which I respect with utmost sincerity.
With the vacuum Muppet.
Yeah. What kind of war crime fucking creations are these two working on in there? That's like if you walked into my
Release
house and
the vacuum Muppet. Meep beep.
if you walked into my house and I was like, "Oh, sorry, Nick, let me get the human grinder," and you're like, "Wait, well, why the fuck do you have that?" It's like that. You ever see those memes where they're like, "Why did Bikini Bottom have this? The thing that grinds up Squidward?" It's like, yeah, why did they have that? Yes, they try to get him with the vacuum of it, but he escapes, causes havoc. Meanwhile, there's a subplot about Gonzo getting ready for his big finale, and Bean not getting a role in this, and he's sad. Bean Bunny is not being offered a role, and that kind of breaks his heart. Sam has a big patriotic speech at the end that, of course, will be cut short by Kermit and his band of weirdos. What else?
So Bean Bunny actually runs away after he messes up
Fucking
Miss
sad.
Piggy's sketch.
Yes.
Which is where I first learned the song "Dream a Little Dream of Me."
Yeah, of course. She's hot, bro. We get it.
Yeah. And I just thought of a really bad joke. I'm not gonna say.
Good idea. Let's keep going.
And Bean Bunny runs away.
Sad.
And he like it's a lot of this. I forget how much of the show takes place in just a black void.
Yeah, because he leaves. He keeps like walking until he reaches the black void. Right? He walks out of Miss Piggy's scene.
Yeah. And Waldo, the Spirit of 3D, says, "I'm coming with you."
I hate that fucker.
And he turns into a bindle for Bean Bunny
Because
to carry.
kids love old homeless guy jokes.
Old hobos, kid and union jokes. Kills with the kids.
Nick, have you ever seen the Muppet Christmas special, like the TV one?
No.
It's a real delight. It's been recommended a few times by people who listen to the podcast, and I appreciate it. Katie and I watch it every Christmas. 30 minutes long. If you enjoy this, Nick, I just want to say really quick, listen to that. It's called Muppet Family Christmas. It's about 30 minutes long. They invite all of their friends and the Sesame Street gang and the Fraggle Rock people all to Fozzie's mom's house for Christmas. And it's really delightful. It's really heartwarming. And at the end, they do have a really beautiful shot of Jim Henson cleaning up all the dishes for the Muppets in the background, like he's their dad. And it's very, very sweet. But I think you might like it. It just popped into my head now.
I'm sure I would love that.
Yeah, it's a big, big recommendation. Also, they play more songs. And you get Muppet babies.
That's cute. So, they run away and they make everyone go look for Bean Bunny, including a live performer in a Sweetums costume.
Comes out!
Insane. Scared the shit out of me as a kid.
Yeah, he comes out with his flashlight and, the audio's calling for Bean. He's shining it in the crowd to see where he is.
And his mouth's going like this.
Yeah, like he could eat an entire child, a Nick-sized child in one
You know who he looks like? Those Muppets that, like, or not the Sesame Street Muppets that, like, you can just, like, shove, like, food in their mouth and it, like, catches it.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yes.
Aliens, I think, right?
Yes, he looks like an alien crossed with Animal, the drummer from Dr. Teeth and the Electric Mayhem. Also,
right.
You've watched some Dr. Teeth, right?
Mm-hmm.
Katie's like, "Oh, yeah, his family comes back." And like, guess what they do for a living? And I was like,
are they dentists?
Well, I was like, I don't know, hardware. And she's like, "What? James, teeth?" And I'm like, "Orthodontist?" She's like, "They're dentists, like, what the fuck? How did you get that so wrong?" It was very embarrassing. But yeah, they're all looking for him.
So then they find Bean Bunny. They talk him into coming back because Kermit promises. Or no, actually, Fozzie has the idea that maybe Bean can set off the fireworks.
I cannot emphasize this enough. All of your other Muppet impressions are solid. Your Fozzie's not good.
Fozzie's my best one.
Bro, my Fozzie. Yeah, all right. Can you do his his noise?
Waka waka.
All right, we'll move on. Anyway, let's keep going.
So they have a glorious 3-hour finale.
Yep. Which is like 4
it's seconds. A minute and a half.
Yeah.
Another great joke. The best part about so what happens is Kermit goes, "Sam, is the finale ready?" And he like pops in through a door in the black void and goes, "Yes, it's a glorious 3-hour finale." And Kermit goes, "You got a minute and a half." But the best, most underrated part of this joke is the noise that comes out of Sam Eagle next, which is a gasp, and it's just, and it's just like the perfect gasp for that moment, like chef's kiss, Swedish chef's kiss.
Jinx.
And then it's like a finale where like Small World dolls come out, weird toy soldiers play, and Bean Bunny sets off fireworks. and there's fireworks on the ceiling.
Yep,
Like
sort of
LED fiber
LEDs,
optic
yeah.
fireworks. But I was watching a commercial for the attraction before it first opened, and they like in the commercial set off real pyro
In the
over the
theater?
audience. Yeah, and I can't imagine this ever happened over an audience for real, but I also wouldn't doubt it because they set the ceiling on fire in multiple Universal rides.
That's also a good
So
point.
maybe they did. And it just brings me to a point that I have about a lot of 3D movies
Uh-huh.
in theme parks, which is that the promotional material is always way exaggerated.
Yeah, well, it's like a Burger King burger commercial. When you get that thing, it looks like somebody ran it over with a car. It's never good. I want my Muppets with real fire. I want my Muppets with real danger. I want to be part of their ramshackle production.
Yeah, but so then the fireworks go off, but shit goes sideways. A guy gets his head
No.
stuck in a tuba, and
One
it
of the
ends up
penguins.
that Waldo, the spirit of 3D, fucks everything
'Cause
up,
he
leading to
sucks.
leading to the Swedish chef trying to shoot him.
With the gun.
And so he starts firing a gun at the screen,
Is it a
blowing holes
cannon
in
or
the
like
screen.
a big blunderbuss?
It's a big blunderbuss rifle situation, and then that fucks up the orchestra, so they set a cannon
Yep.
on Swedish Chef.
Now, Nick, I feel like we have to highlight this. If you haven't seen, Swedish Chef is he is real.
He's the projectionist.
He's coming out of the wall behind you with a Gatling gun. It's an animatronic Swedish Chef. And after his war starts, I believe, do the penguins play a hint of the Flight of the Valkyrie, I think, or something like that?
Something like
dun,
that.
Dun, dun, dun. They rise out of the orchestra pit with a cannon that is also real. These things are all going off in person.
Yeah, and then the theater explodes.
Yeah, everything blows up. It's great. There's also a big hole blown through the wall. This is done on film, where you see the outside of Hollywood Studios.
And this is one of my favorite things about this attraction
too.
because it is permanently stuck in 1990.
You see
and it
Pluto
is
the
just like the
dog.
last vestiges of Disney MGM Studios.
Yeah, none of the people are just like now. No matter how the weather is on your day, it's bright and sunny outside, and you do see Pluto, which is nice.
Yeah, 90s Pluto.
Yeah, love that big boy. Yeah, it is a glorious finale. And Nick, something that I think the reason that the Muppets have such an appeal for older folks, and by older I just mean like not kids, especially people in performance, right? That thing you mentioned every time. Hey, I have this thing I prepped for you. It's 3 hours. Great, you have a minute and a half. It's like such a universal thing, not just for performers, but anybody who's ever been like, oh, I set up this thing for work, and your boss is like, nah, not anymore, you don't. Or the walking, hey, I need you to present something in an hour. I saw a really meaningful post once that was just like, the reason people identify with the Muppets is because none of them are quite great at what they do. The thing is, they care and they try. Kermit's an okay MC. Fozzie's not very funny, but like, they try their
What
best.
do you mean? He's the funniest bear in town.
You sound like if they introduced a Fozzie character who was his cousin. That's it. I'm Freddy Bear. Oh, no, wait. That's Freddy Fazbear.
Freddy Fazbear.
5 nights. But
they call me Freddy Five Nights.
How many nights for the audience? I keep seeing this picture online of Madam Web like this. And
5 nights?
And they just keep going, asking Madam Web how many nights at Freddy Fazbear's. But the Muppets have that appeal of everything in our lives is a mess all the time. And sometimes it's really funny. And the Muppets capture that, I think, exceptionally well. And Muppet Vision 3D is such a delight because it blends so much type of media and it has so much heart. That's what makes me wish we had more Muppets, man. Do they kill Waldo? They don't. That's a bummer.
No, everyone survives. No one dies.
Well, I'm sure a few Muppets died off screen. Kermit's known for that. Listen, he's got too much to worry about a few deaths, all right? A few generic Muppets.
Yeah. So, to bring things back full circle, in 2004, Disney does finally successfully purchase the Jim Henson Company, kind of bookending Eisner's tenure. He finally now I can rest. He acquired the Muppets.
Yes,
and he can go off into the sunset now, and Big Money Bob can take over.
Mm-hmm.
The attraction was sponsored by Kodak until 2012.
I did not know that.
And then in 2023, and I experienced this in January, which I didn't realize, they renovated the theater and added new seats and projection mapping to the end. So when they explode Waldo into a million pieces, there's like Waldo projections all over the theater, and it looks really good.
I did not know that. I wish they
Yeah.
reined Waldo's.
Wow, you sound really good now because you sat and moved your mic way too close to your mouth.
Oh, I sound worse.
I mean, like, you sound, like, right up against your mouth.
It's so a little behind baseball. My wavelengths are always so much smaller than yours. I'm slightly concerned, which is weird because I'm stupidly loud. I would have liked if Waldo's CGI blood. Maybe they could add that in, like they could spray a little bit of
They
wet.
spray you with it?
Yeah, a little bit of his blood. Maybe you can put a little bit of his anguished screams over the walking out. I would love that. When I was a Jungle Cruise skipper, they had these little gashapon prizes you could win. And I won Waldo and desperately traded him away as quickly as I could. I was so angry that I had him.
I love Waldo. He's an original character to a theme park attraction. He's the spirit of 3D, which is just a funny concept.
Especially because I think it's funnier now that 3D is antiquated in a way. Like 3D isn't funny or new anymore. It's a gimmick, right?
Yeah.
He's a gimmick.
Which is funny you say that, James, because guess where this attraction popped up again? In 2001, another barely finished theme park when it opened, Disney's California Adventure.
Really?
Where it existed from February 2001 until it closed in November 2014. It briefly became a Frozen sing-along, another aped attraction, and then eventually permanently became Mickey's PhilharMagic, another aped attraction.
Mickey's PhilharMagic is also a delight in Magic Kingdom, but I will always view it as
I love PhilharMagic.
I do too, but I always view it as a lesser version of this. I never like it as much as I like
Sure,
this.
because it doesn't have 20 robots.
No, it doesn't have penguins and guns and a Swedish guy. Also, my last memory of the PhilharMagic is actively getting sick while we were watching it together. So it's not quite as good.
So, in 2001, they opened this attraction, which means they needed to do a little dedication for it.
Okay.
So, James, what I would like you to do is head on over to our Google Drive. I have some clips of the opening dedication of Muppet Vision 3D, which I guess was before the park opened because it opened with the park.
Okay.
So, it's just a press event individually for this attraction that had already opened 10 years earlier at another theme park. And I'm going to tell you, before I tell you which one to click on, I'm going to just give some brief background. They had set up a little stage in front of the attraction, which isn't as exciting as it was at Hollywood Studios because it's just kind of thrust into the Hollywood backlot area.
Yeah, it's not quite
we got a theater, put it in there.
Okay.
But it's got a kind of cool marquee with a 3D thing that moves on it, and Kermit's popping out of it.
Yeah, hello,
And
Kermit.
to introduce this attraction, they brought up two people. They brought up a woman named what was her name? Cynthia Harris,
Okay.
the president of the Disneyland Resort at the time, and Charles Rivkin, who was the president and CEO of the Jim Henson Company.
Okay.
But after they come up and do their like weird, annoying corporate talk for a couple minutes where they try to like get business people to do banter, they're joined by a special guest. So go ahead and click on that special guest.
We want to welcome all of you and invite you all in to...
Excuse me.
Oh.
Pardon me. Hi there, guys. Listen, I'm really sorry about this, Charlie.
Hi, Kermit.
Well, we're actually not quite ready to open the attraction yet. I'm sorry.
Uh-oh, so what's going wrong? I can't do it. We're doing a bit with two businessmen and a businesswoman.
The press. They can't wait to
Yeah.
to see those fabulous effects,
Yeah,
those 3D effects.
I know that, Cynthia, but the problem is that right now Muppet Vision 3D is sort of a D short.
2D.
You see, the highly technical electronic device that starts the show never arrived. In other words, we sort of lost the remote.
What a long-winded way to get to that bit.
It's also a crime to have a live-action Kermit interaction with two business people. This is why, Nick, I've thought about this. I think a great job for you and I mean this isn't a joke, we should just do press for, like, we should be the people that they send to these events. We are the intermediary where they just tell us what, like, we learn enough to do the presentation and leave. Like, no more awkward press, people. We do the
Well,
presentation.
this brings to mind one of my favorite genres of things, which is people interacting with the Muppets as if they're real.
They
Like,
are real.
even when they're not filming.
Well, because they are real.
Well, exactly.
They're actors.
Precisely. And people forget that they're dealing with a Muppet. Because this woman, up until this point in this presentation, has been not really saying a whole lot, but like everything's kind of stilted, very clearly reciting.
Mm-hmm.
There's ums and uhs, a lot of filler words for her. But as soon as she starts interacting with Kermit the Frog, she lights up and she just starts like really kind of selling it. And it's just the magic of the Muppets, in my opinion. And also I just think like Kermit coming out and like I want to like there's
Mm-hmm.
he does this long-winded bit and he just like saves this. Like he comes in and he's like, please let me do this.
Mm-hmm.
Um so anyway, I want to kind of talk about who's up on the stage with him for a moment.
Can I just tell you something really quick, Nick?
Sure.
This reminded me of a story. I looked at, it's a little chunky to read it like this with the script on my thing, so I may not get it 100% right. So Danny Trejo, when he was filming the Muppet movie,
I love this story. This is what
his mother passed away. And he was in England filming, and I believe he wanted to go back, and then his secretary called him and was like, no, finish your thing. We're not doing anything yet. Like there's no funeral. Like just finish your what you're doing right now and then come home. And you'll be back in time, because his mother had already passed. And there's a part where he says, everybody was coming up to me and saying, "Hey, Danny," and I was kind of shutting down, not feeling nothing, like, yeah, it's okay, kind of pushing everybody away. And then that damn frog, Kermit, comes up and goes, "Danny, I'm really sorry about your mom." And he goes, "And just like that, I broke for the bathroom. It's one of the kindest memories I have of that situation." But it's like, no performer, Kermit the Frog walked up to him and told him, "I'm sorry about your mom passing away."
The baddest man on the planet, Danny Trejo.
Like, what an incredible... He's like, that's what really... I really started crying when, what do you call it? When Kermit told me she was... Like, what a bizarre statement to have your mother's death acknowledged by Kermit the Frog.
Yeah, so there was something else I wanted to say about that clip, and I can't remember what it was. I was stammering trying to find it a minute ago, and I lost it. So we're just going to move on.
I'm sorry.
And talk about... No, it's not your fault. I was literally just blanked my brain about what I wanted to talk about. So that's why we take notes, kids. In my notes, though, I have some information about these fine folks up on the stage. Cynthia Harris.
Mm-hmm.
She joined the Walt Disney Company in 1992. She held a variety of positions of like leadership within the company.
Mm-hmm.
She was president of Park Ops at Disneyland at one point.
Ops.
She was the senior VP of stores for the Disney stores.
Okay.
And then she left Disney after a while, not too long after this. And then from 04 to 05, she was the president of Gap's outlet division.
Okay.
She oversaw the Gap's 3 outlet chains, Banana Republic, Gap Outlet, and Old Navy Outlet.
Okay.
And she was appointed the president of Gap's namesake chain of apparel stores, overseeing the Gap brand's operations, as well as Gap Kids, Baby Gap, and the Gap
Is this
Body
setting up
businesses.
for a pun? Because I'm not... Where are we going with this?
And then we have Charles Rivkin, who at the time was the president and CEO of the Jim Henson Company.
Okay.
He won a BAFTA at one point for executive producing Yo Gabba Gabba.
Fella.
And then he was the
Television.
ambassador to France and Monaco from 2009 to 2013.
Whoa, Monaco, that's one of them fake rich countries. That's incredible.
He assumed the role of ambassador in August 2009. His service in France came at one of the relationship's strongest times in history. So to honor the legacy of the Franco-American friendship and to commemorate the 68th anniversary of the Allied invasion of mainland Europe during World War II, Rivkin took part in a mass parachute jump over the coast of Normandy on June 3rd, 2012.
Now, when did the Muppet... Did he invite Kermit on this fucking adventure?
Right, because like this is a Muppet plot, but this man just really said, "No, I'm done with the Muppets. I am now going to be ambassador to France," like fucking Charles Guiteau, which is a deep cut history and/or musical theater reference, depending on your perspective.
That's incredible. Hey, Nick.
So yeah,
do you know how much it costs to live in Monaco?
how much?
You have to have a certain amount of money. This is according to one website, but I do know you need a certain amount of... the cost of living in Monaco is 62% higher than in the United States. The rent is, on average, 429% higher than the United States. A minimum investment of 1 million euros with 500,000 euros to be deposited in a Monaco bank account, and the remaining 500,000 to immediately purchase property in Monaco. Monaco exists to be a James Bond location. Monaco exists
For money laundering.
We should do a Monaco episode where we go to Monaco.
I'd love that.
We could call it The Two Poorest Men in Monaco, a podcast.
But that was not the end of Charles Rivkin's
weird
political
life.
aspirations. because he also served as the Assistant Secretary of State in charge of Economic and Business Affairs from 2014 to 2017. He was confirmed by the Senate in February 2014 and assumed office the following day when he was sworn in by U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry, and he is the current president of the MPA. The Motion Picture Association, the ratings people.
Muppet Protector Association, to keep people from hunting them for their pelts.
This guy went from Muppets to U.S. government very quickly.
This is the type of life I aspire to have. I really, Nick, one thing, and I mean this, I want people when I'm older, if I had a Wikipedia page, to be able to look at it and be like, that's wacky. He really got around, didn't he?
So up there is the future Gap boss lady and future U.S. ambassador to France.
And Monaco.
Kermit the Frog. And Kermit the Frog just starts fucking killing it. Go ahead and start that clip labeled jokes.
And Kermit the Frog is still the most important one up there, in my opinion. Can I start it now?
You can start it right. Meow.
Thank you for having me here, Cynthia. It's so great to have been invited here to Disney's California Adventure. I think it's a great thing that Disney took their parking lot and turned it into an entire state.
Listen to the reaction.
Sort of just like California, which took an entire state and turned it into
another
a parking lot.
back-to-back popper.
Oh, and I want to apologize to you all that Miss Piggy couldn't be here today. She's very busy these days shooting her new reality game show. It's called Who Wants to Marry a Pig? And it seems that nobody wants to, although she tells me Tom Cruise is available.
A little topical humor for you there at the end. And you can see the people up there are just genuinely laughing, because that's what the Muppets do.
This is what I will argue over and over again, that they just have this infectious joy, because they are funny, they are larger than life, but they are relatable. You can see yourself in the Muppets. You're never going to be as perfect as Mickey Mouse. You can absolutely be a Fozzie Bear.
Yes, you can.
Well, some of us can.
So this goes on where a lab technician comes up and taps on their shoulder and whispers something in Kermit's ear, and he's like, oh, it turns out we actually found the thing. And then they pull down one of the giant boxes that's on the crates that's on the stage next to them to reveal Bunsen Honeydew and Beaker with a big whirligig machine.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to show you what happens, because you can imagine what happens. Go ahead and click on fireworks.
Okay.
Uh-oh, wait, this video is not processed. You might have to download it.
Downloading it, don't you worry. Oh, guys, Nick got a virus on my computer. This whole podcast was a set. It's Waldo, the Spirit of 3D. He's in my fucking computer. All right,
do you have it?
hold on.
All right.
It's loading.
This is a bit of a longer clip, so just bear with it.
Yeah, that one.
Okay, so Bunsen, a beaker is literally blowing up.
Like a really funny practical effect where Beaker just not just blows steam, erupts steam out of his ears for a couple seconds. And then a few pyro blasts go off.
Hold on, I'm not there yet. No spoilers.
It literally just happened.
Oh.
I hereby open Jim Henson's Muppet Vision 3D.
No, the pyro just happened for me, bud.
No, James, it happened before.
There were fireworks going off right now.
There's 2 sets of fireworks.
God, the sign is so good. The Muppet Vision 3D sign.
Some might call it garish.
That's okay.
Vicky, I think, why don't we go somewhere else?
So that's about it. I didn't put in a clip of the end where like they officially open it, even though it is kind of funny. I encourage you to go watch it. It's on YouTube. It's only like 8 minutes long. It's such a charming little presentation because it ends with the guy Charles Rifkin, Deus Ex Button, goes, "Hey Kermit, what about this big red button? Maybe this can open the attraction." And the 2 humans and Kermit put their hands on the button. They count down from 3. They press it. Confetti goes off, and then Sweetums bursts through what it turns out is a paper wall underneath the sign and bursts through it. And they officially opened Muppet Vision 3D. But yeah, I was just tickled by how Beaker's ears kind of exploded in that video.
Nick.
And like someone had to rig pyro for this. Like it was such like they put a little bit of love into this, an opening for an attraction that had already opened 10 years earlier.
But this is the ability. I think the Muppets truly do have the ability to bring out the best in people, and I want more of it. Nick, I can if we have a moment, I'd love to play you this little clip from an old episode of The Muppet Show.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Hey, Vincent, I really thank you for coming on the show tonight, and so do
Price.
all the Muppet
Love
monsters.
Vincent Price.
Thank you, Kermit. I never met a monster I didn't like.
I can believe it. Hey, can I ask you a question?
Yes, of course.
Well, in all the
Kermit
scary
looks great
movies
here,
you've
too,
done
by the
through
way. You got like a
years,
full shot of him.
You're always turning into a vampire.
Very green.
Well, how do you do that?
Oh, watch. The ending always gets me here.
How do you do that? That is so scary.
Well, Kermit, if you will forgive the modesty, that is perhaps the epitome of the actor's
Vincent
craft.
Price seems so
You see,
kind.
it takes tremendous concentration, years of physical and emotional training, and enormous mental exertion. Do you understand?
Oh, sure.
Watch.
Oh, well, some people learn faster than others.
Oh, that's incredible.
I'll never get over the
Oh.
fact that Kermit immediately kills Vincent Price. Takes his fucking
so
vampire.
charming.
Isn't it delightful?
It's like that theory where like everyone can say like they would do the right thing if given like unlimited power, but they would all just become murderers instantly.
We often cite this as Katie and I will joke about this all the time, but that is my biggest character flaw. Where and Nick, you, as I say this right now, there is a vampire portrait across the room from me. You've seen it. Where I'm always like, no, I would be the cool vampire. Me, I'd be cool. I'd only eat bad people. Only bad people.
Like Dr. Michael Morbius, the Marvel legend.
Literally, I love the Virgin Islands. I'm gonna open a nighttime party boat, and you know whose island used to be there?
Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah. So I'm gonna be like, do you guys want to cruise by the Epstein Island? And they'll be like, oh yeah. And then I'm gonna eat those fuckers at sea.
Love that. Well, James, I'd like to finish up with a little game for you.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's do it.
If you have a phone or a pen and paper handy, that might be even better.
Is this gonna be?
Perfect.
One Star Wars trivia last night with our good friend Mike. Is this gonna be like that?
No, I need you to make a blank list 1 through 10 for me, real quick.
1 through 10. Okay, hold on.
Yep, we're gonna do a little blind ranking of Muppets for you.
Okay.
So I'm gonna give you a Muppet, and you have to place them somewhere on the list without knowing who the other options on the
this
list
is so
are.
hard. Okay. All right.
And we're gonna see if you agree with your rankings when you're done. Okay.
All right.
Ready?
Do it.
Here you go. First Muppet, Sam Eagle.
Sam Eagle. All right. Ooh. All right. I'm clocking in Mr. Eagle at number 3. Put him at 3. I like Sam Eagle.
Next Muppet, Dr. Teeth.
Oh God. See, it's already so fucking hard. I like Dr. Teeth too. I'm gonna put him at number 4.
Wow, you're gonna regret that, I think. Next Muppet, Walter.
As in, the regular human ass Muppet.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm gonna put him
from
down
the
at,
Muppet movie
I'm gonna
from
put him at
Jason
8.
Segel.
I don't think I dislike any of these Muppets, but yeah.
Beaker.
All right, hear me out. I like Beaker. He's funny. He only has one joke. He just meeps. So I'm putting him at 9.
That's a little reductive, but sure.
Okay.
Next Muppet, Pepe the King Prawn.
Pepe. Oh God, yeah, you're right. I shouldn't have put Dr. Teeth at 4. I would have put him at 4. Pepe's going at 5.
Next Muppet, Swedish Chef.
Swedish Chef. This is tough. God, I don't know who you include. You could have picked stinkers for the rest of this. Swedish Chef is going at 7.
Next Muppet, Rizzo the Rat.
Rizzo the Rat's going at 2.
Next Muppet, Ralph.
Ooh, I do. Oh, this is so hard. Oh, yeah, Ralph should have been above Dr. Teeth and Pepe. All right, he's going at 6.
Next Muppet, a 2-for-1 here, Statler and Waldorf.
This sucks, because there's only 2 left, huh?
Is it 1 and 10?
Yeah, oh, man. All right.
You fucked up.
Statler and Waldorf are going at 10 because they're mean-spirited. Not because I don't like them, but because they're mean.
And finally, Uncle Deadly.
Oh, yeah! Uncle Deadly number 1, baby!
When you said you liked Ralph, I was like, oh God, oh no.
I do. I actually. Okay, so fun fact: of the lesser-known Muppets, Uncle Deadly is my favorite. I would never put him at number 1 because he doesn't do enough. So I ended up with
list 10 to 1.
10 to 1. Statler and Waldorf, Beaker, Walter, Swedish Chef, Rolf, Pepe, Dr. Teeth, Sam Eagle, Rizzo the Rat, Uncle Deadly.
Do you agree?
I don't hate the general theme of this list.
Your middle gets a little wonky.
Yeah, I would have Pepe would be a lot higher. Probably Pepe and Rolf would be ahead of Dr. Teeth. Sam Eagle and Rizzo would be at the top. This is really tough. I guys like Walter and Beaker are going to be closer to the bottom. Swedish Chef too, not because I dislike them, but I don't go crazy for them. I was expecting Gonzo to be in there. I was going to give Gonzo number 1. Or Salmonella, the chimp. He's above all the other ones.
I almost gave you, oh God, who's the guy who carries around the herring? Lou something.
Oh, yeah. The Shakespearean looking, yeah.
Yeah, what is his name?
I don't even
oh,
know.
Fuck.
Um,
But anyway.
listen, Nick.
Yeah, that's all I had.
We have a lot to look forward to too. Good cinema's back. We're getting 2 movies with evil.
New Zealand.
Thank you. That's
New
very
Zealand.
good. We're getting 2 movies with evil chimps in them. Every time I see a trailer for Godzilla vs. Kong and New Planet of the Apes, I'm like, I don't give a shit if this is good. I'm gonna watch evil dictator monkeys, and that's enough for me. So thank you for doing this deep dive into the Muppets.
Yeah, thank you all for coming along on our invitational, just sensational,
On our
Muppetational, podcast-brational.
Great podcast caper.
Yes, the great C-Ticket caper. C-Ticket takes Manhattan.
A C-Ticket Christmas, a C-Ticket Carol.
I don't know, but whatever it is, we thank you for listening as always. And I have a friend who wants to come do the outro.
Who is it?
Waka waka, everybody! Thank you as always for listening to the C-Ticket podcast.
I don't know about this one.
Make sure you follow us on social media
Good
at
idea.
cticketpod on Instagram, Twitter, and the TikTok. Walk out the taka.
Don't forget to follow us on.
And most importantly, subscribe to our Patreon.
Don't forget to follow us on
$5 a month.
Shut
you
the
get
fuck
a
up,
new
Buzzy! Shut the
episode.
fuck up! Follow us on Patreon for the Madam Web review.
Waka waka!
I'm Rizzo Duran.